This is the homework for 612, 613, and 614. For 612 and 613, you need to graph shapes A, B, and C with the given vertices. And remember, vertices are where two lines meet. So this quadrilateral has 4 vertices. This quadrilateral has 4 vertices. This triangle has 3 vertices. So shape A is at 1, 1, 3, 3, and 2, 4. Shape B, its vertices are 2 on the x, -1 on the y. 4 on the x, -1 on the y. 2 on the x, -3 on the y. And 4 on the x, -3 on the y. And shape C is -3, +1, -3 on the x, +4, -1 on the x, +1, and -1, +4. In 613, you need to translate triangle A 4 units to the right and 3 units up to create triangle D. So one way is just to take each point and go 4 units to the right, 3 units up, and make that point. This point, 4 units to the right, 3 units up, and then the last point, 4 units to the right, 3 units up. The other way, using patty paper, is you make the origin cross, trace triangle A, and then what you're going to do is you're going to look at the origin cross and you're going to move that 4 units to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 3 units up, 1, 2, 3. And that's where your image would be, right here. Now, if you wanted to trace it, you would have to use colored pencil on the back side. Make the points and press down really hard so it's nice and dark, because that'll act like carbon copy paper and it'll leave a mark. Then what you would do after you traced on the back side, you would go 4 units to the right and then 3 units up, and then you would mark each of those points, and then you could draw the lines and it would leave an imprint on the back that you can go ahead and trace over. In problem 614, you need to graph each equation on the same set of axes and label the point of intersection. So we have y equals 2x plus 3. This is your y-intercept. And you have y equals x plus 1. And that's your y-intercept. And so I'm going to highlight the y-axis, because that's going to help me determine where my y-intercepts are plotted. So this is plotted at +3. This is my initial value, +3. Then I look at my rate of change, 2 over 1. It was 2x, but I write it as a ratio because that will help me when I go to graph this, because it's 2 over 1. So from +3, I'm going to go up 2 on the y over 1 on the x. Up 2 on the y over 1 on the x. Or I can do -2 on the y and -1 on the x, because -2 divided by -1 is still +2. And now the second equation it was x, but I'm multiplying it by 1. Anything multiplied by 1 is itself. That's the identity property of multiplication. And I wrote 1 as a ratio. 1 divided by 1 equals 1. And so our initial value is 1. So that's our y-intercept, positive 1. And it's 1 on the x, positive 1 on the y, positive 1 on the x, positive 1 on the y, positive 1 on the x. Or I can go negative 1 on the x, y, negative 1 on the y, negative 1 on the x. And I keep going, and I see the point of intersection is at negative 2 on the x, negative 1 on the y. And if you look, both of these slopes or rate of change are positive. So just remember, if you have a positive slope or positive rate of change, they'll be sloping, or think of a tree falling towards the positive x's. So you wouldn't have any slopes going this way. If you did, you know you did something wrong, because this is a positive 2 and this is a positive 1. So both of these slopes are sloping positively.